Hello everyone, welcome back to our maths class. Today in this class we are going to study the next topic, and it is reducing a fraction to the lowest term. What do you mean by lowest term of a fraction? A fraction is said to be in its lowest term if its numerator and denominator are coprime numbers. Coprime numbers means what? We already studied. Do you remember what are called coprime numbers? Very good. Two numbers with only one as the common factor are called coprime numbers. We have studied it. That is, so when it means to be coprime numbers, the HCF of numerator and denominator is 1. Okay. So, a fraction is said to be in its lowest term if its numerator and denominator are coprime numbers. Numerator and denominator should be coprime numbers. That means the HCF of numerator and denominator is 1. Okay, and to reduce a fraction to its lowest term, what we have to do? We will be given here, we are given a question, reduce the fraction to the lowest term, and it is given 54 by 72. So we have to reduce this into the lowest term, and to reduce a fraction to the lowest term, what we have to do is, we have to divide the numerator and denominator by their HCF. Okay, the same step what we have done to find an equivalent fraction, the same step we can do here. We are going to divide the numerator and denominator by their HCF. Okay, so here 54 is the numerator and 72 is the denominator. First we can find their HCF. Okay, so 54 by doing prime factorization. We want to do the prime factorization, right? 54 divided by 2 will get 27. Again 27 divided by 3, it is 9. 9 divided by 3, again it's 3. 3 divided by 3, it is 1. Okay, then the next is 72. 72 divided by 2, it is 36. 36 divided by 2 will get 18. 18 divided by 2 will get 9. 9 divided by 3, it is 3. 3 by 3. 3 divided by 3, it is 1. Okay, so now 54 is equal to 2 into 3 into 3 into 3. 2 into 3 into 3 into 3. Okay, 54 is equal to, we have written as the product of prime numbers. Then 72 is equal to 2 into 2 into 2 into 3 into 3. Okay, so we have done the prime factorization of 54 and 72. Now we have to find the HCF of 54 and 72. HCF of 54 and 72. We have taken only the common prime factors. So it is 2 is here, then 3 is here, and one more 3 we can take, right? These are the common prime factors here. That is 2 into 3 into 3, which is equal to 2 into 3. It's 6. 6 into 3 will get 18. So the HCF of 54 and 72 is 18. We got their HCF. Now what we have to do to convert the given fraction into the lowest term, we have to divide this given fraction with the HCF of numerator and denominator. So 54 by 72 is equal to 54 by 72. We are dividing it with the HCF 18. Okay, so we are dividing it with 18. Okay, and 54 divided by 18, when 54 is divided by 18, we get just 3. 3 divided by 72 divided by 18, the answer will be 4. Okay, so now we got another fraction, just 3 by 4. Look here, the numerator is 3 and the denominator is 4. Look whether these numbers are coprime numbers. What is the HCF of 3 and 4? The only common factor between 3 and 4 is 1, right? So the HCF of the numerator and denominator in this fraction is 1. That means 3 and 4 are coprime numbers. Okay, so 3 by 4 is the lowest term of 54 by 72. So to find out an equivalent fraction and also to reduce a fraction into its lowest term, we do the same step. We follow the same step. We will find the HCF of numerator and denominator, and then we will divide the numerator and denominator with the HCF. Okay. Next, we are going to study the comparison of fractions. Okay, we are going to compare which fraction is greater and which is smaller. Okay, so here we are given two fractions, 2 by 5 and 3 by 5. We have to compare and say which fraction is the greater one and which is the smallest one. Okay, so for that, I have here a rectangular piece. Let it be a chocolate bar. So I have got a rectangular chocolate bar here, and I have divided it into 5 equal parts. I have got 2 chocolate pieces and I have divided it into 5 equal parts. So here the fractions to compare are 2 by 5 and 3 by 5. We have to check and say which one is the greater one and which one is smaller. Okay, so here it is 2 by 5 and 3 by 5. Okay, so 2 by 5 means what the fraction means? Dividing it into 5 and from that taking 2 parts. Right, here also dividing it into 5 and taking 3 parts. Right, so I have got a chocolate piece and I have divided it into 5 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and the first fraction is 2 by 5. So from the 5 parts I am taking 2 parts. Right, I am taking these 2 parts, the first 2 parts. From the 5 parts I am taking the 2 parts from it. So this is 2 by 5. Right, and the next is 3 by 5. Total of 5 parts, and from that I am taking 3 parts from it. So taking 3 parts, this first 3 parts I am taking. I am taking the first 3 parts, and look here from here itself. So this is 3 by 5, right? And look here from here itself, we can say which is the greater one. Dividing it into 5 and taking 2 parts, and dividing it into same equal 5 parts, and from that taking 3 parts. Which is greater? 3 by 5 is greater. Dividing it into 5 and getting 3 pieces, it will be greater, right? So we can say that 2 by 5 is less than 3 by 5, right? 2 by 5 is less than 3 by 5. Okay, so look here, when the denominators are same, for the two fractions, if the denominators are same and if the numerators are different, the fraction with greater numerator will be greater one. Okay, so if the denominators are same and the numerators are different, the fractions with greater numerator will be greater one. So this is our first rule to compare the fractions. Okay, next we are given two fractions, 4 by 11 and 4 by 7. Okay, so here look, the numerators are same but the denominators are different. Denominators are 11 and 7. Okay, so let's take which fraction is the greater one. Okay, so here we have got a chocolate piece. It has of the same length and size. Okay, the same. So the first one I have divided it into 11 equal parts, and the second one has divided it into 7 equal parts. Okay, so the first fraction is 4 by 11. So I am taking 4 parts from this 11 parts. Okay, 4 by 11. So it is 4, taking 4 parts. 2, 3, 4. So these 4 parts I am taking. It is 4. So it is 4 by 11. Okay, out of a total of 11 parts, it has been divided into equal 11 parts, and from that I have taken 4 parts. And the next is 4 by 7. This one is divided into 7 parts. Both the rectangles are of the same length, and this one has been divided into 7 parts. And from that 7 parts I am taking 4 parts. Okay, so it is 1, 2, 3, 4. I am taking these 4 parts. Okay, so look here from here itself, you can see which one is greater. The first one is 4 by 11 and the second one is 4 by 7. Which one is greater one? Because 4 by 7 is greater, right? So look here. Here in these fractions, the numerators were same, but the denominators were different, right? So in such fractions, if the two fractions have the same numerator, if the numerators are same, the fractions with greater denominator will be the smaller one. Okay, here if the denominator is greater, that fraction will be the smaller one. So in this case, 4 by 11, we have 4 by 11 and 4 by 7. Okay, the numerators are same. They have different denominators, 11 and 7. So, which has the greater denominator? 11 is greater. So, the fraction with greater denominator will be the smallest. It will be the smallest one. So, 4 by 11 is less than 4 by 7. Okay. To compare the fractions, what we have studied? If two fractions have the same denominators, the fraction with greater numerator is greater. For same denominators, we will look for numerators, and the greater numerator, the fraction with greater numerator will be greater one. Okay, and if two fractions have the same numerators, the fraction with greater denominator is smaller one. So, if the two fractions have the same numerators, we will look at the denominators, and the fraction with greater denominator, that will be the smallest one. Fraction with greater denominator will be the smallest. Okay, so here we are given some questions. Let's compare. Use correct sign. We have to use the less than symbol or the greater than symbol to compare these fractions. Okay, so the first one, 7 by 11 and 9 by 11. Okay, look at the fractions. They have same denominators. So when same denominators come, we will look at the numerators. And numerators are 7 and 9. So what happens when the denominators are same? We look at the numerators, and the fraction with greater numerator will be the greater one. Fraction with greater numerator. So here, which is greater? 9 is greater, right? So 9 by 11 is greater one. Okay. So always for the symbol, always the mouth opens towards the greater one, right? So 9 by 11 is here, it is the greater one. So how we are using the symbol? We will use the symbol, always the mouth opens towards the greater one, right? So 7 by 11 is less than 9 by 11. Okay. Moving to the next one, look here, it's 5 by 9 and 5 by 7. Look, the numerators are same. Numerators of these fractions are same, and they have the different denominators. So when numerators are same, we will look at the denominators. And what happens? What we have to do? Look at the denominators, and the fraction with greater denominator will be the smaller. Here 9 is greater. So this fraction will be the smallest one. This fraction will be the smallest one. Okay. And this fraction 5 by 7 will be bigger one. So 5 by 9 is the smallest. So we are using that symbol, smallest one. For smallest one, we will always the mouth closest towards the smallest one, right? So 5 by 9 is less than 5 by 7. Okay. Next is 12 by 24 and 7 by 24. Look at the fractions. They have same denominator. So look at the numerators and check which numerator is greater. 12 is greater, right? So if two fractions have same denominators, the fraction with greater numerator will be greater. So here 12 by 24 is the greatest one. So 12 by 24 is greater. So always the mouth opens towards the greatest one. Okay. So here 12 by 24 is greater than 7 by 24. Okay. Next is 4 by 15 and 4 by 10. They have same numerators. So we look at the denominators, and the greater denominator, the fraction with greater denominator will be the smallest. If the denominator is greater, that fraction will be the smallest one. Okay. So here 4 by 15 is greater. So it is the smallest one. So smallest. For smallest one, the mouth closes towards the smallest one. Okay. So 4 by 15 is smaller than, 4 by 15 is less than 4 by 10. Okay. So we studied how to compare the fractions, and if two fractions have same denominators, the fraction with greater numerator is greater. If they have same denominator, we look at the numerator. Fraction with greater numerator will be the greater one. And if the fractions have same numerator, we will look at the denominators, and the fraction with greater denominator will be the smallest. Okay, if the denominator is greater, that fraction will be the smallest one. Okay, so hope you all understood today's class. Thank you.